Reborn. I ignored my mafia king husband's calls and texts. I spent days drinking with pretty boys. On the 8th morning, I found Kaelen at my door. "Which part of you did that man touch?" he growled. "My hand." I giggled. "How else would we roll dice?" "Cut off his hands," he ordered his men. I pushed past him. "Do whatever." In my past life, I had been his queen for 8 years. I'd helped him dominate the city's underworld, running the casino empire at his side. But then he became obsessed with Stella, a delicate shuffler girl under his protection. I discovered he'd quietly changed my marital status to divorced to shield her. When I confronted him, he shrugged, cold and dismissive. "You're my queen. Why stress over trivial matters?" I slapped Stella in public. That night, Kaelen shattered my brother Leo's legs in front of me. "This is your lesson for touching what's mine," he sneered. I begged until Leo's blood stained the floor. Then I collapsed, broken. Now I woke on the day I first saw my marital status changed. This time, I sold my jewelry, bought a ticket, and plotted to flee the gilded cage with my brother, away from Kaelen. After checking my status online, I went to the city clerk for confirmation. "Ms. Goller," the clerk said without looking up, "your marriage has officially been dissolved." The words hit like a blow. My past life had been terrifyingly real. The dissolution was dated on my birthday. I remembered booking the city's highest rotating restaurant that day, complete with a private fireworks display. I had waited from sunset to sunrise. He never came. He had been busy, indeed, busy signing a paper erasing me from his life. Shaking off the memory, I returned to the casino. Kaelen's black Maybach was parked at the curb. In my previous life, I would have run to the car, screaming questions, only to be shoved aside before Stella even emerged. This time, I melted into the shadows near a pillar. The driver's door opened. Kaelen stepped out, walked around, and opened the passenger side himself, an unusual gesture of care. A girl in a pale blue dress stepped out, looking timid beside the luxurious car. "Stella." Kaelen draped his suit jacket over her shoulders, guiding her toward the grand casino entrance, his arm around her waist. "Kael," she hesitated, voice shaky. "I have nothing left but you. I can't lose this chance." He pulled her into a firm embrace. "What are you afraid of? From now on, this place is yours. No one else deserves it." His tone softened. "If you don't like it here, I'll build you a sanctuary of your own." The same men who once bowed to me now bent at her command, fawning with loud respect. "Welcome, ma'am." Once they disappeared inside, I pressed a hand to my stomach, pain shooting through me. Alone, I went to the hospital and scheduled an abortion. The doctor frowned at the ultrasound. "Ms. Goller, you have a complicated history. You haven't conceived in 7 years. Going through with this may prevent future pregnancies." I laughed bitterly. "I'm divorced. My child doesn't deserve to grow up without a father." As the anesthesia took hold, memories of the old Kaelen surfaced, his hands on my belly, speaking of a son who would master the tables, promising travel and fortune. Then the memory of his cold words hit. "Only you deserve to be the mistress of this casino." When I awoke, I dragged myself to my brother's hospital room. This time, Leo's injuries were minor, and he would recover quickly. I wouldn't be a fool again. I contacted a black market broker, securing 2 tickets to a distant country, leaving in 3 days. Official channels were too risky. Kaelen would know instantly. I gave a trusted subordinate cash to arrange Leo's secret discharge. Finally, I allowed myself a moment of calm. I hailed a cab to an address a few blocks from our villa, a habit born of paranoia. Just as I stepped out, a hand clamped over my mouth, dragging me backward. I fought, kicking and twisting, managing a brief escape before a sharp object struck my back. Pain exploded, warmth spreading through my shirt. It wasn't hard to guess. One of Kaelen's rivals. Many had reasons to want him dead. I was in their way. I reached for the knife in my purse, but my arm was twisted behind me, and my phone was ripped from my grasp, smashed on the pavement. "Stay still, bitch," the man snarled, dragging me toward a van. As despair threatened to overwhelm me, a familiar black Maybach turned the corner. Kaelen's car. I screamed with all my strength, thrashing for attention. The car slowed, but then sped past, ignoring me. Through the window, I saw him pulling Stella close, shielding her from the scene, as if I were an invisible casualty, unworthy of concern. All hope drained away. Pain and cold washed over me, a final, crushing wave, as darkness claimed me. I woke in a quiet, private hospital room. The door was slightly open, and muted voices drifted in from the hallway. Boss, her injuries are serious this time. If she finds out about Miss Stella, Kaelen's private doctor began. Kaelen's sharp, cold voice cut him off. Focus on healing her. That is your only job. He paused, then added quietly, Zoe has been playing this game for years. She knows every trick, every deception. She's a master. Stella is different, the doctor argued softly. She's inexperienced, a blank page. She can't measure up to Zoe. Kaelen's tone dropped, almost a whisper. If she wakes and causes trouble, go to her brother. He's all she is left. She won't risk him. I gripped the bedsheets, teeth digging into my lip until it bled. The night I'd secured him the Kaelen district, he'd held me close. Zoe, from now on, no one in this city's underworld will ever touch you again, he had promised. The same vow, the same protection, but it was no longer meant for me. I, once his treasure, had become a dangerous force to be guarded against. Footsteps approached. I closed my eyes, pretending to awaken slowly. You're awake. Kaelen tossed a file onto the bed. We traced the culprit, Ty Lone Shark, the one whose hand you crushed last year for cheating. Sign this settlement, he said, voice neutral. In return, they relinquished control of the East District. The East District. The only untarnished territory left in the city, coastal, free from casinos and shady industries. I remembered what he told Stella. I'll build you a quiet paradise, a resort all your own. All my suffering, all my blood, had been traded to construct a golden cage for his new love. Kaelen, I whispered, voice hoarse. When did you make this deal? Was it while I was being dragged away? Or had he plotted it from the start, paving a path for her with my pain? He furrowed his brow, clearly annoyed. I forced a small, meaningless smile and said no more. The answer no longer mattered. Perhaps to appease me, he lingered in my room for the next 2 days, running business remotely. Yet his phone never left his hand. At meals, he photographed his food, sending it with a soft, gentle smile I'd never seen aimed at me. My mind wandered back 8 years. I hadn't met him in a casino but a dark alley, surrounded by armed men ready to beat him for cheating. Feeling generous after a big win, I paid off his debt and brought him to my apartment. Later, when drug lords killed my father over a gambling debt and came for me, it was Kaelen who arrived at the last second to save me. By then, he controlled a small casino. I became the unseen queen of the cards, devouring rival casinos and bleeding competitors dry. My hands were stained with deeds that could never be washed away, but if the world thought me dirty, he should not have been part of that judgment. After my discharge, Kaelen claimed he was busy and vanished. The next day, I returned to our penthouse above the casino, emptying the safe of passports and documents. As I stepped out of the elevator, my legs buckled. I braced for a fall, but delicate hands caught me. Are you okay? The voice was gentle, cautious. I looked up into Stella's clear, innocent eyes. She wore a dealer's uniform, yet it seemed foreign on her. She did not recognize me, just another unlucky gambler. I'm fine, thank you, I said, straightening quickly, eager to leave. She did not release me. Instead, she guided me to the staff break room. You look pale. Rest a moment. For reasons I couldn't explain, I didn't refuse. She poured warm water, offered dried mango and bread. Eat something. Don't dwell on your loss. Your family is likely waiting at home. When I said nothing, she hesitated, then pressed a few bills into my hand. This is for a cab. I wish I could help with your ticket. I wanted to scream. Stay away from Kaelen. That man has no heart. His gentleness is poison-coated honey. But the words died in my throat. If she knew the truth, she'd confront him, and I could not risk it. I had 1 day left. I could not gamble my brother's life, or my own. I accepted her kindness, thanked her, and hurried out the back door. Just as I crossed the threshold, something cold and hard pressed against my temple. A gun. I spun, only to see Stella collapsed in the hallway. Before I could react, the butt of the weapon struck the back of my head. Darkness swallowed me whole. I awoke to find myself and Stella bound in an abandoned warehouse.
Who are you?
Why are we here? Stella cried, panic-stricken. A man with a jagged scar across his face slapped her hard. Because of your fiancé, Kaelen. He took my territory in the West District, cut off my resources. So it was the West District crew. They had no idea who I was. Their target was Stella, the girl everyone saw at Kaelen's side. I subtly worked my wrists, using a hidden microblade under a false nail to saw through the ropes. I always kept a trick ready. The scar-faced man spat near me. Lucky you got caught with her.
Call your family.
5 million and you walk. Stella's tears ran freely. I'm sorry, this is my fault. But my fiancé is powerful, he'll rescue us. Her faith in him was unwavering. I stayed silent, focusing on loosening the bindings. Frustrated that Kaelen wasn't answering calls, the man kicked over an oil drum.
Fine.
We'll send him a message the hard way. He picked up a dagger, eyes lingering on Stella. I saw you at the hospital. You're carrying his child, right?
Perfect.
We'll send him a gift. My stomach dropped. She was pregnant. Stella froze in terror, her face pale.
No.
Please don't touch my baby. The others closed in, laughing cruelly. At that moment, my ropes gave way. I lunged like a panther, elbowing Scarface in the jaw, snatched the dagger from his hand, and cut Stella free, placing myself between her and the attackers. Kill her. Scarface shouted, clutching his face. Surrounded by 5 or 6 armed men wielding iron pipes, I was outnumbered. Pain and exhaustion threatened to overwhelm me, but I shielded Stella with my body, cornering her away from harm. Scarface lost his patience and aimed a pistol at me. You asked for this. Before he could pull the trigger.
Boom.
The warehouse doors burst open. Kaelen and his men stormed in, guns blazing. He moved like a lion, fierce and unstoppable. He scooped Stella into his arms. Don't be afraid. I'm here. She sobbed, overwhelmed by shock and relief, and fainted. He carefully placed her in his car, securing her safely inside. Then he turned toward me. Zoe, he said, voice icy. Why are you here? I pushed myself up, ignoring the searing pain, and met his gaze with a cold smile. Are you accusing me of something? Before I could finish, his hand struck my face. I went sprawling, blood filling my mouth. I knew it, he snarled. You've been plotting against Stella all along, haven't you? I spat blood. No, I rasped. He grabbed one of the wounded men and pressed a gun to his head. Tell me, who sent you? The thug trembled, eyes wide, then blurted. It was her. She wanted the other girl taught a lesson. My heart froze. Kaelen laughed without humor, then pulled the trigger. He kicked the corpse aside and crouched, pressing his boot against my hand. Pain shot through me. These hands, he murmured almost to himself. They used to obey me. Now you use them to hurt the person I love most. He pulled out a dagger. I told you, Zoe. Don't touch what's mine. A flash of cold steel. The dagger pierced my palm, pinning me to the cold concrete.
Ah!
I screamed, body convulsing in agony. Vision blurred. Rage and despair coalesced into a roar. Kaelen, I should have left you to die in that alley 8 years ago. I should never have helped you rise to power. With his own hand, he had destroyed the last shred of affection between us. He snorted, stood, and left with his men, never looking back. I waited until the searing pain faded into numbness. With my uninjured left hand, I retrieved a tiny locator beacon hidden in my bra and pressed it. My subordinate arrived moments later, eyes immediately reddening at my condition. He carefully removed the dagger. My right hand was a mangled mess of flesh and bone, completely numb. Weakly, but with unwavering resolve, I whispered, "Burn it.
Destroy this place.
Erase everything. From today, there is no queen of the cards in Canaan." In the dead of night, Kaelen was jolted awake by his phone. His subordinate's voice was tense. "Boss, she's gone. We've checked every hospital in Canaan, nothing. But you need to see her medical records. It appears she already knew about the divorce. She even checked public records at the clerk's office." Meanwhile, Stella stirred from the faint smell of smoke. She found Kaelen in the living room, a carpet of cigarette butts beneath him. "Is something wrong at the casino?" she asked softly. He started, but didn't put out the cigarette. "It's nothing," he rasped. "Just a minor work issue." He didn't notice the exhaustion etched into his face, the dark circles, the bloodshot eyes, the weariness that made him almost unrecognizable. His subordinate had informed him. Zoe had gone to the hospital for an abortion on the very day he had brought Stella to the casino. While he celebrated a new queen in their kingdom, Zoe had been alone on an operating table, ending the life of their child.
How dare she?
The first light of dawn crept through the window, illuminating Stella's pure, untroubled face. She was so different from the woman who had shed blood and defied him, the same woman who had dared make a choice without his consent. Fine. They were divorced. Her departure spared him unnecessary complications. It's nothing, he muttered again, crushing the cigarette beneath his heel. I'll just take a shower. In the bathroom, he dialed his subordinate. The West District scum. Leave none alive. Make it clean. Feed them to the harbor sharks. Stella settled into the villa. Kaelen provided her with expensive dresses, jewels, and a comfortable position at the casino. Yet he felt a gnawing fatigue. After dealing with the brutality and filth of his world, returning home to her innocent eyes felt like splitting himself in two, one half the ruthless king of Canaan's underworld, the other the respectable businessman she believed him to be. His thoughts often wandered to Zoe. Only with her could he truly be himself. She was fearless, calculating, efficient, eliminating obstacles without hesitation. A gold-embossed invitation lay on his desk, the Southeast Asian Casino Summit, inviting the king of Canaan and his wife to compete. Previously, he wouldn't have given it a second thought. With Zoe, it was a game, a performance enhancing their reputation. Now, he couldn't recall the last time he had played with purpose. Games with Stella were simply a pastime. Increasingly, he returned to the penthouse late at night. Seeing Zoe's old things, the sharp, confident energy she left behind, made him remember their shared past. He had saved her from the drug lords, yes, but she had built him his kingdom. Their bond was never savior and rescued. It was forged in blood and fire, a silent understanding in the shadows. Without Zoe, there was no Kaelen. Why had he discarded her? Because her hands were stained with blood? Because her occasional vulnerability annoyed him? Yet when Stella showed the same weaknesses, he felt only protective tenderness. A sharp pang pierced his chest. He stood abruptly.
No.
He had to find her. The casino couldn't operate without its queen, and he couldn't function without Zoe. Tear this city apart if you must, but find Zoe. Kaelen bellowed into the phone. I don't care if she's dead. I want proof. Boss, we've searched everywhere. Hospitals, docks, underground, clinics, nothing. Then locate her brother. He slammed his fist on the desk. He was injured. He has to be somewhere.
Get him.
I'll see how long she can hide. He hung up, chest heaving. Kaelen. Stella's timid voice came from the doorway. Who are you looking for? He turned, eyes still burning with anger, and she flinched. He took a deep breath. Nothing. Don't worry about casino matters. She cautiously stepped forward. I made you dessert soup. It might help you relax. He took a sip. Sweet, like her, cloying, and yet it did nothing to quell the fire within him. 2 weeks passed with no sign of Zoe or her brother. Kaelen's temper frayed, and the casino felt heavy with unease. He couldn't fathom how a seriously injured woman and her ailing brother could simply vanish. One night, drunk in the penthouse, Stella found him cursing into the phone before hurling his glass against the wall. You've had too much, she said softly, trying to steady him. He grabbed her wrist, voice unsteady. Zoe, don't leave. I was wrong, come back. Stella froze.
His wife was supposed to be gone, dead.
She looked around the opulent penthouse. No photos, no memories of a grieving husband. The next day, he took Stella for a prenatal checkup. Tentatively, she tested the waters. Kaelen, when will we marry? Soon, the baby bump will be obvious. Before, he would have been overjoyed. Now, his tone was clipped. The casino is chaotic. We'll discuss it later. If it's too much, I can leave, she whispered. Don't be ridiculous. We'll do it at month's end, once I've sorted things, he replied, finally softening. Later, while Kaelen attended a meeting, Stella visited the records room. No one dared stop her. She searched for hours, but there was nothing. No files, no mentions of Zoe Goller. What are you looking for, ma'am? A junior staffer asked. I need to see Zoe's file. The boss ordered all her files destroyed after she left. Ouch, a colleague muttered, elbowed sharply by another. Pale and dazed, Stella descended to the casino's sublevels. Faint, inhuman screams echoed from below. Scarface was chained to the concrete, surrounded by shattered glass. Boss, I swear we'll stay out of the East District. Please, just let me go. Kaelen laughed, void of warmth. That piece of dirt? Worth as much as my wife. Scarface sneered. Your wife? Stop pretending, Kaelen. You sat in your car while we took her, cuddling your new toy. And now you act heartbroken? Pathetic. Cut his tendons, Kaelen ordered flatly. At the doorway, Stella froze. She attempted to flee, but Kaelen caught her in a few strides. She trembled, tears streaming. He pulled her close, voice harsh yet protective. Don't be afraid. They deserved it. They can't hurt you again.
No.
That's not it, she cried, looking up through tears. It was Zoe who protected me. She was so injured, but she shielded me. She cared for me. How could I repay her like this? For the first time, Kaelen's icy composure cracked. She saved my life, Stella sobbed. Why didn't you cherish a woman like that? He had no answer. In a foreign city, dusk settled over the streets. I had just left the supermarket, planning to cook hot pot with Leo. My right hand was still weak, but months of surgeries and physical therapy had restored enough strength for light tasks. My phone buzzed. It was Leo. Before I could answer, a strong arm snaked around my neck from behind, yanking me into a narrow alley. Instinct took over. I dropped my weight, slammed my elbow into the attacker's ribs, and stomped hard on his foot. A blade hidden in my fingers glinted in the dim light, pressing against his throat. It was Kaelen. He simply stared, then almost impossibly smiled. Still sharp as ever, my wife. Even if you kill me. A wave of fury and nausea churned in my stomach. We're divorced, Kaelen, I said, voice ice cold. Leave my life. Don't ever show your face again. He ignored me, leaning forward until the blade cut his skin, a bead of blood forming. Come back, Zoe. We can start anew. The casino needs its queen. And I need you. I lowered the blade. In your dreams. I will despise you for the rest of my life. His eyes reddened. I know I was wrong, just give me another chance. Footsteps echoed behind him. He hadn't come alone. I stepped back, left hand pressing a small emergency button Leo had given me. Kaelen forced me into a car, racing toward the airport. His phone buzzed with a video call. On the screen, Stella was tied to a chair, a newborn in her arms, a knife at her throat. Let Miss Zoe go, my subordinate shouted, or you'll never see your wife and child again. Kaelen's expression didn't change. He chuckled. Those two together aren't worth a single hair of Zoe's head. Stella's eyes widened in despair. Kaelen ended the call, locking his obsessive gaze onto me. Now no one can stop us. He had truly lost his mind. As we skidded to a halt at the airport entrance, several cars blocked our path. Leo leapt from one, gun in hand. Kaelen, let my sister go. Gunfire erupted from every direction. Kaelen threw himself over me, shielding me as bullets tore through his shoulder. He barely flinched, gripping my wrist and trying to drag me toward the terminal. Don't be afraid, Zoe. I'm taking you home. I wrenched free. There's no home for us, Kaelen. We can never go back. Pale, he reached for me again. It can be like it was before. I held his gaze. Tell me, Kaelen, if I had gone after Stella that day, if I hadn't left, would you have beaten my brother to death in front of me, and then killed me? His pupils contracted. His lips moved, but no sound came out. He couldn't deny it. Leo aimed his gun at Kaelen. Sis, let me end him. I took the gun from Leo's hand, aimed, and fired.
Bang.
Kaelen flinched, staring in disbelief at his mangled right hand, eyes wide with shock. You took one of my hands, I said steadily. Now I've taken one of yours. We are even.
Zoe.
Don't go, he roared, a desperate, feral sound, stumbling after me. I didn't look back. 2 years later, on a sunlit afternoon in Paris, I spotted Stella. She held the hand of a little girl, no more than 2 or 3, looking healthy and content. I came to finish my degree, Stella said, calm and composed, her old shyness gone. I smiled, nodding at her and the child. The blood, the hatred, and the twisted love of the past had finally washed away, leaving nothing but peace in their place.